All right, section 11.3 today, calculating probability of multiple events. So probability is chance something happens, but the multiple events just mean two things like happening together. So like the probability it's sunny today and they serve meatballs at lunch. Okay, that'd be one example. There'll also be, so basically there's kind of two different types. That's an and one, and then there's an or. So like the probability that it's sunny out or they serve meatballs at lunch, those would be two separate different probabilities. Okay, so I'm gonna start. I usually start class when we're in person with this little game, where like I will say I'll buy. I legit do this. I take out a coin, a six-sided die. Right, so there's six sides on this number cube. A standard deck of cards where one-fourth of them are spades. Okay, and then they have to roll the number cube again and get a one. Right, I do say I will buy pizza if you can do all of these. So um, we normally do it in class, but this is a good example of a multiple events, right? Because we want all of these things to happen. I want one and two and three and four all to happen. Okay, so maybe you can intuitively make sense of this. Like, I would pause the video here and see if you can figure out the probability. Or maybe just figure out, is there a good chance it's going to happen, a not good chance? What do you think? Okay, so your answer are, if we look at them individually, right, your chances of getting a heads is just 1 out of 2. And then we want to get an even number on a number cube. So there's 3 evens, 2, 4, 6. So there's 3 out of 6 that are even. And then a spade, I think it's like 13 out of 52 cards, but really that's just 1/4 are spades. Okay, and the last one is you want to roll a 1 on the number cube. Okay, and there's only one favorable out of 6 total. Okay, so the chances of this and this and this and this happening, you have to multiply all these together, right? So on an and, you basically multiply and you get a lower number. Okay, and the only thing I'm going to change here is an even. Instead of writing 3, 6, I'm just going to reduce that to 1/2 because that'll make it a little bit easier. Okay, so my chances of all of these happening together, multiply all these together. Okay, so our top number is just 1, right? And then multiply all these denominators and you end up with, see, this is 24, 48, 96. So I think there's only a 1 out of 96 chance that the students will hit all of these and then get the pizza. So that's about 1%, maybe a little more than 1%. So not a very good chance, right? And generally on an and probability, the probability gets lower, right? Like the chance of it's sunny and meatballs is lower than just the chance that it's sunny. Okay. So a little bit more about just sort of some vocab. Um, is there's like dependent events and independent events. And so what a dependent event is the first event changes the probability of the second. So a simple way to explain that is if you had a bag with 100 marbles, 30 with their red, the probability of the second marble being red depends on what happens with the first marble. Okay, so the second marble, right, is if you draw a red one the first time, your chances would be 29 red marbles left out of 99 total. Okay, and then if you don't draw a red one, if you draw a non-red one, your second marble, there's 30 red marbles now out of 99. So the probability of a second marble being red depends on what happens with the first marble. That's called dependent. Okay, and independent events is where the first event has no effect on the second event. Okay, so like tossing a coin, that has no effect on what happens with rolling the dice. Okay, so I've got a couple pairs of events here, um, and you have to figure out, do you think these things are dependent or independent? The two events. Okay, so the first example, again, hopefully you've had a chance to think about this. The first example is dependent. Okay, so my happiness depends on if Derek is in class or not. Right, it's dependent. My happiness will go up if Derek is in class, if go down if not. Okay, and then the second two would be example of independent, right? I mean, you could make an argument that they weren't, but in general, someone saying something funny has nothing to do with Evan wearing his hat or not in class. Okay, so I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. I was kind of lost at where I'm supposed to be here. But dependent or independent events. I guess we're not doing the and probabilities. I know I kind of started that with the game, but are these dependent or independent events here? First card is a spade, and then you draw a second card without replacing the first card. What is the chances the second one's a spade? Okay, and so these would definitely be dependent. If you don't put the card back, the chances that your second card is a spade depends on if you got a spade or not. Okay, so if you get a spade on the first card, then your chances of getting a spade on the second card are only 12 spades left out of 51 total cards. And if you don't get a spade on your first card, then your chances the second one is a spade is 13 out of 51. There's 51 left, but 13 spades remain. Okay, and why this matters is like if you're doing an and probability, like getting a spade and a spade, you would have to like think about the fact that your spade for the first chance is 1/4 for the first card, but the second card is not 1/4, right? Your second card is if you want to get two spades, that means you got a spade on the first card, and your chance of getting a spade on the second card are now only 12 spades left out of 51. So that is how you'd calculate the chances of getting two spades dealt to you at the start of a card game. Okay, so maybe I should have put this in here earlier, but we started off with that example of all the die and the flipping coin to win pizza. So that's called an and probability. Um, but basically, the simple version works when there's independent events. All right. So if you want to find the probability of A and B happening together, you take the probability that A happens times the probability that B happens. Okay. And that again, the second probability isn't affected by what happens on the first one. So probability of drawing a heart, right? In this example would be 1/4, and probability of getting an odd number on a die, half the numbers are odd, so it's 1/2. So your chances of getting a heart and an odd would just be 1 out of 8. Okay, and that's sort of working along the lines of the fact that the events are independent. Right? If they're dependent, then you have to adjust the probability on the second event to account for what happened on the first event. Okay, so maybe try this one. See if you can figure out what is the probability of getting heads 3 times in a row. So I want to get heads and heads and heads. Okay, and your hint here is you're going to multiply on an and you just multiply. So my chances of getting the heads on the first one is 1/2, second 1/2, and again, none of these events, the later events depend on what happened on the first one. They're independent. So the chances of getting 3 heads in a row is 1 out of 8. This one you wouldn't really know, but I did this kind of as a macabre example of I tried to figure out like what are the chances everyone in my class is actually paying attention at the same time. So what I did is I made a spreadsheet. This was one of my classes from a few years ago, but and I calculated the chance of each, or I listed the chance each kid was paying attention. So this kid hardly ever paid attention, 80% of the time, 70%. This kid always paid attention. So I said, okay, what is the chances of each of them individually? And then the chances everyone pays. This is a big and. So I multiplied them all together in my spreadsheet. And I figured out that was the chances that everyone is paying attention in class at the same time. As that's a sad, sad percentage. But it has to do with some people are kind of low percentages. So when you multiply them all together, you get a super low chance, which kind of represents the idea that the more things you add on, the lower the chance. So this is almost 0%, according to my calculation, a little bit more. So I also I had a class where the kid made fun of me all the time, and this kid that he didn't fall asleep too often, but it's only 3% chance. So think here, what would be the chances that both James made fun of me that day and Caden fell asleep? So pause the video and see if you can find that probability. Okay, and since these events are independent, we're just going to multiply these two together, and we'll get a number that's smaller than either of those two originally. Okay, so we get just a little bit less than 3% by the look of it when you multiply those. Sorry for the glitchiness there. Okay, and on the test, if it just talks about and, this is just a non-story problem, which I don't like, but basically if it says and, right, hopefully by now you realize you just multiply those together, right? So both P and Q happening here is 2/20ths, or a 1 in 10 chance of them happening together. Okay, so a little more vocab here. So why is this better for me? So I would buy the class pizza if someone rolls a single dice, a 6-sided die, and gets an even number and a multiple of 5. Right, pause the video and see if you can see why this is a better deal for Mr. Westbrook. And the answer is these cannot happen together. Okay, so if I look at my possibilities, when they roll the die, there's only 6 things that can happen. Okay, and here is our multiple of 5, and then even number, all right there, and so there's no overlap. Okay, and so if they can't happen together, that's a vocab word called mutually exclusive. Okay, so if you want to jot that down, mutually exclusive are 2 events that cannot happen at the same time. All right, so you know, maybe to make sense of this, pause and say, are these events mutually exclusive, yes or no? Okay, so rolling a 3 and an even number, that's not, 3 is not even, so these can't happen together. So this is mutually exclusive because they cannot happen together. All right, 4 and an even number, that is not mutually exclusive because they can happen together. This one's not mutually exclusive. Sunny and you eat chicken for lunch, again, those can happen together, so that's not mutually exclusive. And then the chance you get an A on a test and you score below 50%, assuming there's no curving or anything, those would be mutually exclusive. There's no way you got a 50 and you got an A, right? Those things wouldn't happen together. Okay, so kind of the last thing for today is we did an and probability. There's also or probabilities. Okay, and so generally these, like, probability of A or B will increase from either A individually or B individually. Okay, and so if you think about like the probability it's sunny or you eat chicken, right? That's going to be higher than just the probability if it was sunny, because either one, it can be correct. So basically the formula for this is going to be, if you want to jot this down quick, for an or is you can take the probability of A plus the probability of B. So you're going to add their chances of happening, but then you're going to subtract, sorry, my thing glitches out. So you're going to add the 2 individual probabilities, and then you're going to subtract their and. Okay, and this part I'm going to refer to a lot as the overlap. Okay, and so I think, you know, I like probability when I can make some sense of it, and so hopefully when we start to apply this formula, it'll make sense. All right, so let's look at a couple examples here. So here we have a dish of shapes. I'm not sure why you're eating shapes, but we want to do the probability that a token is square or red. Okay, so the way we're going to do this or probability, is we're going to take the probability that it's a square plus the probability that it's red, right? Because it can be either one of those, and then minus the overlap, which is the probability it's red and square. All right, so basically, if we look at this, and we can just do this visually, the squares, there are 1, 2, 3 squares. So probability you get a square is 3 out of 9 shapes total. Red ones, there are 1, 2, 3. So 3 out of 9 again. Okay, and then what happened is if I mark these red ones, right, what happened is this one got counted twice because it's both a red and a square. It got counted twice, so we have to minus off that overlap. So that last thing I oftentimes call the overlap. So the chances you get a red or a square would be 6 minus 1, so 5 out of 9. Okay, and if we do this visually again, if I circle all the ones that are either red or a square, you'll see that that's correct, right? That would be 5 out of the 9. Right, and again, this one ended up getting counted twice when we did our little calculation. That's why we subtracted it off here. So 5 9s. All right, I'm gonna have to make a second video because I'm out of